So if you can count to 3, as simple as 1, 2, 3, I'm going to share with you in this video a very simple but highly effective budgeting system that you can follow. And like I said, if you can count to 3, you can do this budget and it will be both, like I said, simple and effective for your finances on a month in and month out basis. So with that being said, find the like button on this video, hit that like button for me. That way we could get this video out to more people just like you and help them budget their money better and help them ultimately reach their financial goals. And if you're new here to the channel, you want to be sure that you hit that subscribe button so that way you'll get notified each and every time I upload a video just like this when you're watching. So let's go ahead and get into this 1, 2, 3 budget. So the very first step that you're going to want to do in this 1, 2, 3 budgeting system is you want to get a very good idea of the amount of income that you are going to be working with on a monthly basis. Now, obviously, if you want to go ahead and break this down into a bi-weekly or a weekly budget, you could obviously just adjust the numbers for that scenario, adjust the numbers for the week or bi-weekly. But I personally would suggest that you do this on a monthly basis because I just think ultimately it makes the entire process a lot more simpler and you're not having to keep coming back to it week after week. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is you want to get a very good idea of the total amount of income that you are actually, bringing home to yourself, or in other words, depositing into your bank account, or that you are actually getting paid on your check. Now, how would you go about finding out roughly what this is? Because I'm not expecting, like I said, the whole point of this budgeting system is not to be rigid, not to be very specific, not to be, dollar for dollar, penny for penny. That is not the point of this budget. It is simple, easy to follow, and effective. So you're not looking for exact numbers here. You don't need to sit there and add up all your checks and come up with some exact, middle number. What you're looking to do is get a very general idea of the total amount of money that you bring home on a monthly basis. Do not start looking into what is your total gross income for the month, because that is not the amount of money that you actually get paid. That's not the gross amount, is not the amount of money that hits your bank account. So the gross amount is irrelevant. You want to look at the total net amount that actually gets deposited into your bank account or shows up on your check. And then a very easy way to do this is obviously if you receive physical paycheck stubs, you could just look over your most recent paycheck stubs, maybe look over, 4, 5, 6 of them, and you're going to notice hey, they're all around this range. And you just kind of add up the total and say, okay, well, I roughly bring home, this much per month. And then there you go. You got your average total income that you bring home in a month. Or maybe you go online, log onto your bank account, look over the deposits that actually hit your bank account from your employer and be like, okay, I roughly bring home in general around this amount. And then that means you have now executed step 1 in this 1, 2, 3 budget. And then now we're going to go ahead and get into what is the second step in this 1, 2, 3 budget. Like I told you, this is easy. It's not complicated. So the whole purpose of step number 1 was for you to identify your average monthly income. And with that number, you can then now lay the foundation of your entire budget. So what you're going to do now here in step 2 is you're going to identify your mandatory monthly expenses. Now, I want to stress and emphasize this point. When you are figuring out this number in step 2, your mandatory monthly expenses, you need to understand that that is exactly what they need to be when you are calculating what your mandatory monthly expenses are. This needs to be only absolute must-haves. Absolutely, these are no negotiations about it. You need these things on a month in and month out basis, no matter what. So this is going to look like things like housing, whether you rent or buy. This is going to be utilities. This is going to be a car payment. This is going to be food in order for you to feed yourself. This is going to be car insurance. This is going to be, things like that you just truly cannot do without on a month in and month out basis in order for you to survive and function. And then what you're going to want to do is ultimately add up all of those costs on a month and come up with what is that total dollar amount, and say, okay, this number now, once you've added it all up and say, this is my mandatory monthly expense dollar amount on average. We're not looking for an exact number. What I would say when you were coming up with this total is go over a few months and kind of look at all of those categories that are, within that mandatory monthly expenses for you. And what I would say is kind of give yourself a little cushion, round the numbers up. So then that way you're giving yourself a little more room within your budget. Because if you're too conservative with those numbers, or you kind of cheat and try to make yourself feel better by, lowering down those costs, when you spend more, it's ultimately going to leave you less money left over in this next part of the video when we get into step 3. So just be honest with yourself and even give yourself a little room by, kind of rounding those numbers up to like, the nearest highest number, giving yourself a little more cushion in this section of your budget. So in step 2, you need to get very clear and just identify what are your average monthly, mandatory monthly expenses right here in step number 2. Okay, you guys, so like you are 2 steps deep into the 1, 2, 3 budgeting system. So before we go ahead and dive into step 3 of this 1, 2, 3 budgeting system, I would like to invite you guys and ask you guys to consider subscribing to my channel right here. Look down beneath the video, find that subscribe button, give that subscribe button a quick tap for me so that way you'll be notified by YouTube each and every time I upload a video. And if you really want to be like a true go-getter and overachiever, find the like button on this video, give the like button a quick tap for me. It helps this video reach a wider and wider audience and helps my channel be found by more people just like you and help those people reach their financial goals as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. And with that being said, let's now get into step number 3 of this 1, 2, 3 budgeting system. All right, you guys, so for step 3 of this 1, 2, 3 budgeting system, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your income dollar amount that you came up with in step number 1 of this video, you're gonna put that right up here at the top of your budget. Then you're gonna say, all right, let me take the dollar amount that you came up with for your mandatory monthly expenses, whatever that dollar amount is, and you're gonna subtract those mandatory monthly expenses from your average monthly income from number 1. So you got your income at the top, subtract those mandatory monthly expenses from that, and then you're going to come up with a third dollar amount. Now this third dollar amount that you come up with, this is total free and clear income that you are going to have on a month in and month out basis. And you're going to be able to use this dollar amount in whatever categories and whatever way that you desire to do so. Now, like I said, that's totally up to you and where you want to use this income. But this is like the freeing part and like the best part, I believe, about a budget, because you've obviously made the money in step 1, you've paid all your mandatory monthly expenses in step 2, and then now here in step 3, you totally get to like enjoy your money. So you might consider looking at things like, hey, let me start funding my emergency, fund with part of this money. Let me start investing into the stock market with some of this money. Let me treat myself, to a vacation. Let me start saving up for a vacation. All kinds of things like that. Let me buy someone a gift or, something for a birthday party, whatever it is. But this is the aspect or the part of your budget where you could look and feel totally guilt-free when you come to spending money that is from within this, this part of your budget, because you've already like done the most important part. And that is just basically look at your money from an organized standpoint. Like you earned it, then you said, okay, I got all my mandatory expenses out of the way, and then roughly on a month in and month out basis, this is going to be the dollar amount that you're working with. And obviously some months you're going to have things that come up, and in a different month you're not going to have those things come up. So, and then some months you might make more, some months you might make less. But this is why I say in step 2, you would kind of want to, give yourself, kind of like tell yourself that those expenses, those mandatory monthly expenses are going to be a little higher than maybe they are. So then that way, when you come up with your dollar amount that's going to be your free and clear cash for, step number 3, your totally free and clear cash dollar amount number, you want to be more conservative with what's going to be that free and clear cash amount number, because you don't want to be spending thinking like, hey, I got a lot more money that's free and clear than you really do. So you definitely want to be a little more conservative when you're figuring out your mandatory monthly expenses. And like I said, this third step is truly the fun part about a budget. And if you agree with me in that part, be sure to hit the like button on this video to let me know that that is the part that you enjoy the most about, having a budget. And like I told you guys in the beginning of this video, the whole point of this budget is going to be for it to be simple but effective. If you can count to 3, you can do this budget, because it's just simply a 1, 2, 3 budgeting system. So hey, what you guys want to do next is you want to click this video that's going to pop up here on the screen, and I will see you guys in that next video.